wasn't just a puppy.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's Battering. I'm a bit late for this, but I'm going to share my thoughts on what I thought about John Wick 3, Chapter 3, Parabellum. Can't even pronounce that. So, John Wick 3 was definitely an action packed movie. Jeez. Like, there was so much action that most of the movie, all you heard was actually gunshots. There was more sounds of gunshots than actual people talking. Like, there's more gunshots than voices you can hear throughout the whole movie. That's how much action there was. But throughout the movie, I like the way they added just slight humorous scenes. Like, for example, there will be spoilers, so just to let you know. When John Wick was sitting in Harley Berry's house on the sofa, and there's two dogs like sat right next to him, and then the scene just ended with him just staring at the dogs, like just that simple clip was it was just funny. And there was another simple comedic moment as well when he just replied to the guy with the bald head. I'm not sure what his name is, but the Oriental guy. He's a funny guy too, man. His facial expressions and everything is just no. I'm not being racist or anything, but he's got a very comedic face in a way. That just the expressions that he does is very, like, you can see it a lot because of how like clean his face is, and maybe because of his bald head, but I don't know. But there was also a scene when, after the fight between John Wick and him, he just said, like, this was when he was close to dying. Like, I mean, he was dying he had a freaking dagger across his chest, and he was like, it was a good fight. And then John Wick just responded like, yeah, yeah. Just a simple scene like that is just, because after all that action, you just have, it just slows it down as well, slows down the pace of the movie. And then just that simple thing is what you need, just to make the movie funny. Like, and there was, yeah, and also right at the end when we saw John Wick meeting up with the Bowery King, I think, or Morpheus. I'm just gonna call him Morpheus because it's easier. And then he was like, "Are you pissed off?" And then John Wick was like, "Yeah." Like he responds with "yeah," like so many times throughout the movie, and that's just his humor. That made the movie. I mean, you needed that humor because things did get a bit serious, but like they added like the comedic moments in that movie at the right time. That's what I feel anyway. I like the timings of the delivery of this script, but there were some areas of that movie where the script could have been worked on. But if you watch a John Wick movie, like, you would expect the script to be very basic because, I mean, so yeah, some of it like was just too simple because that's just how John Wick movies are. Okay, I mean, you just got to appreciate the action because in this one, not only Keanu Reeves, but even Harley Berry, like, fully trained with the shootout scenes and everything for this. That's why that shootout scene with her was actually really good. Like, she was on point with Keanu Reeves and the training, man. I've seen the behind the scenes as well on YouTube and saw how well she trains. It's the amount of effort they put into it was, for the stunts and everything, was just like, hats off, man. Hats off to that, because it really paid off in the movie, and I can tell. Like, it was really good, but there were obviously movie magic moments. Like, there were so many instances where you thought John Wick could have died, but he didn't because he's just so lucky that way. That's just how he is. But I mean, that's how movies work. I mean, that's just a bit of movie magic. Like, I know he's like fully trained and he doesn't miss a single shot. Like every time he shoots, he gets that headshot, or yeah. But there were instances where he could have died. Like for example, there was a scene when he was reloading and he took him time just to reload, and he was like behind a thin wall, and like people could have shot him from different angles, but instead they just shot straight, so it just went straight past him, and that's just that just shows that the enemies he's facing are really bad at aiming. But I mean, when it comes to aiming really badly, you can't beat the stormtroopers aiming in the old Star Wars. John Wick was in that place with with a lot of glass and all these like optical illusions kind of thing. That went on for so long, man. Like I felt kind of exhausted watching it, but that's not in a bad way though, in a good way. I mean, it was really good. Like, and but the only problem with that scene was the two guys he was facing, the Oriental guys. They were like big fans of John Wick, and they didn't really go hard on him. Like they kind of went easy on him. It didn't feel like a proper fair fight. Like they weren't going all out because it's John Wick, and they're like, oh, it's a pleasure to fight with you. Like, and I felt like they should have pushed a bit harder in that fight. Then it would have made the fight a little better. But that's just my opinion. And yeah, that whole sequence when he was like fighting at different levels in that building, in that place, the environment was beautiful though. It was really nice, stunning. I liked it. Yeah, that whole environment when he had to go up different levels, it reminded me of the Bruce Lee movie, The Way of the Dragon, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure, but The Way of the Dragon, because Bruce Lee had to fight several enemies in order to get to the next floor in that building, and then the next floor on that building, and that's similar to this case with John Wick. And man, they definitely stepped up the hand-to-hand combat. Jesus, man. I don't know how they managed to just film that. Like there was several long takes as well. Like I just don't. It's just insane, man. His training must have been like hardcore. I can't imagine how it's going to be in the next one, the John Wick 4, because I wasn't expecting that actually. The ending when they showed but I'm just going to call him Morpheus, yeah, but I know he's the Bowery King. When they showed him alive, I was surprised because they gave him like, was it seven cuts, and the way they showed that when he did get sliced and diced, freaking out, it really looked like there were deep cuts, and I'm not sure how he managed to survive through that. So that's why it surprised me. And the fact that they're making another John Wick after that also surprised me, because I thought this was the last one of the trilogy. I thought it was just going to be a trilogy. And then they just had to include another one. And then he was riding a horse, and he was just hanging on the side of the horse, just using his horse as protection. That was cool, man. I don't get where. And also, when he went into the stable in the first place to get that horse, and he used the horse's back leg to kick the enemies. That was very creative, man. That was a creative idea. I really liked that. That was funny, and just a very good idea for a fight scene, man. I don't know who came up with that idea, but that was just I can tell how painful that would be because of how strong the horse's foot is. The thing that was missing from this whole movie though was the BGM. Like the fight scenes could have been better with a better BGM, because I really felt it in John Wick 1 and John Wick 2. Like in John Wick 1 you had that "Who do you think you are?" that BGM, like when he started sniping them. Yeah, that was cool. And then John Wick 2, we had the classical music in the background when he went to Rome. That was definitely a perfect BGM for that scene as well. Like it really fitted in perfectly. But there wasn't much of much of the BGM from this movie didn't really like stand out for me. That's one thing that was lacking. Yeah. Uh, John Wick is quite a big guy, and he doesn't really like do like flips and stuff, like acrobatic flips while he fights and stuff, because he's uses his strength instead by like trying to just get people down by taking them down, like by flipping them over using his like leg, and it's more like judo in a way. But that's why we had the Oriental guys, the Chinese guys, or I don't know if they were Chinese, Japanese, or whatever, but that's why we needed them, and that's why they showed them doing those stealth takedowns with all those flips and stuff. Like there were some moments where they just flipped, even though they didn't really have to, like just to add to that um, effect, and that was cool. I really liked that, and there was so many brutal um, kills as well. Like, well, the most brutal scene was when John Wick just pierced a freaking guy's eye with a blade. Yeah, that I still watched it somehow, but it just made me automatically squint. So I mean, I could carry on talking to you guys about this movie. Like, there's so many things I can say, but I'm just gonna leave it as that because one, this video will be too long. Two, you guys probably won't watch it all the way till the end because you probably get bored of it. And three, it'll take a long time for me to upload this video onto YouTube. So I'm just going to leave it as that. Go and check out John Wick 3. It's amazing. And peace.